Well, to the pursuit of truth. This must be the last one on the promised land. But I was just looking up the dates between, because I was trying to work out the BC, AD, and all that stuff, and how many years that was. And I came across this, a genealogy of Abraham, Prophet Abraham. And the interesting thing here, I was wondering whether, because here is Abraham, and the promises made to him to his offspring, who appears he has actually more offspring on this side. He had another wife. I didn't know about this. So what happened to all these? Is this why God needed to clarify that it was Isaac that would be getting through to Jacob? Where's Jacob? Jacob is here. Now, this may not work because obviously he made it to Jacob as well, but he did make it to Isaac. And my wondering is here, Isaac married Rebekah, and then they had a child, Esau, and then Esau married back into Ishmael's family. I think it was uncle's cousin or something, Mahalath Basmath. So I'm wondering, the promises here with Isaac, it comes down to his offspring, his promise as well, then marries into Ishmael's side, and then they have children. So does the promise come back because of that? That's me now wondering whether, because it was descendants. So this was Abraham's descendant, was Isaac, and then this descendant, and then this descendant, which is now in Ishmael's side, and then this descendant. And of course, it carries on through this descendant as well. So now, do both sides actually have an equal claim to the promised land? Although I do realize that the claim is also made to Jacob. So I don't know. Does Jacob's and the promise made to him get rid of the promise made to Isaac? Get rid of the promise made to Abraham? Is it refining the promise? But the promise given to Jacob and to Isaac is a repetition is of the original promise to Abraham. So to me, I'm thinking that that sort of sorts out that whole negating Ishmael and all these. By Isaac's child Esau marrying back into the Ishmael side of the family. What say you? And that was from here. Didn't have one up to Jesus, but I was trying to work out like the timeline, like how many years it was. They used to live for a long time back then. Does this one show it? This one, because it seems like, according to the Bible, it's 6,000 years from Adam and Eve till it's 4,000 BC. Where's it? Can I get that one up? Where's it gone now? Oh, it's gone now. Because here it's saying, because I was talking about how many years between Adam and who did I put? Sorry, Adam and Eve and Prophet Abraham, and it's 1948 to 1984. So basically 2,000 years. So from Adam and Eve, the beginning, as it were, to now, apparently it's 6,000 years. The estimated time between the creation of Adam and Eve and the present year, 2025, is around 6,000 years, based on the biblical genealogies and some interpretations of Genesis. This calculation places Adam and Eve's creation around 4,000 BC, according to Bishop James Usher's chronology. The Bible indeed does not give us an exact date. However, from examining historical events listed in the Bible in correspondence with Adam and Eve lineage and the offspring, scholars and historians estimate they were created a little more than 6,000 years ago, which is my understanding, and I think this probably comes from an Islamic understanding, because the understanding I got from Islam was that Adam and Eve weren't the first men and women. They were the first prophets, the first that God talked to. And, Adam and Eve are prophets of God, and they were first taught of his existence and the prayer. And of course, that works with science and dating. I mean, this could be a retrofit, but we know that humanity existed before 6,000 years ago. So either you're going to go to the story of all science is wrong, and that, I assume there is evidence of tools and paintings and etc. that can be carbon dated, if that's accurate to pre 6,000 years ago. And then how you're going to square off if you're believing that Adam and Eve were the first humans, then what did all the stuff before that? Or you don't believe in that? But this may be why it's convenient for this theory that Adam and Eve were the first prophets and there were people before them. And that's why, and it explains why they're told not to go to certain areas and not to talk with certain people, which is what some people believe is maybe the tree of wisdom and all that kind of stuff, is different tribes. And they were existing before. And of course, that would explain all the how, we came from Adam and Eve and all that kind of stuff. And of course, we can be traced back to Africa or Mesopotamia, whichever is accurate, if we were just one tribe originally. Another one of those chicken and egg things, like what was before God, what was before the universe, what was before us, what was after death, what was before death, before creation of yourself. But hopefully that's the end of this story now. Yeah, it seems strange to think 6,000 years ago, Adam and Eve were around. It doesn't seem that long ago. No, I often think about it, as these prophets, Moses and whatever, they were only, because Jesus was around 2,000 years ago, 0 AD. And we're in 2025, 2000, I know it's a long time and we've developed a lot. But then 2,000 years before that, it was it Moses? And then 2,000 years before Abraham or whatever. And then 400 years before that was Abraham, Prophet Abraham. And then 2,000 years before that is Adam and Eve. I mean, it's a short amount of time. And then all the other religions involved as well, like Hinduism, Sikhism, those religions that were around, maybe even predating Moses' writings or beliefs, paganism and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, but it's very interesting. But yeah, so I don't know now whether each time I do it, I get a different story where it's 1 minute is, that it can be led down to, it's both of their land, Israel and Isaac, and then it's like it's one of them, and now I've found a way of getting it back to both of them. So I don't know if that works or not, but there you go. I'll put the genealogy of Abraham on the last one. So on this one, I'll put the other one from all the 6,000 years, I guess. Take it easy, God rest in peace.